Hello everyone and welcome to Blues TV. It was a very, very emotional game yesterday. I was actually quite proud of the lads. I think Liverpool are one of the best teams in Europe, if not the best in the league at the moment, and they have quality in their team. They've built up over an amount of years, amount of seasons, and they now have a manager that knows exactly how to play them, how to get the best out of them. You know, their determination to win, to fight for the title is clear. You know, it's clear that I look at Liverpool as in they're not playing to win that game, they're playing to win the league. Every single thing they're thinking of, they're like, you know, they're 3 steps ahead. And I was really, really impressed with them. And equally, I was impressed with our guys, you know, for being able to, you know, not suffer it could have easily been 4-5-0 if the lads gave up. But in the second half, we showed some real fight to get back into the game. Tomori, excellent. Kante, excellent. I thought Mason Mount's work rate, whether you rated his performance or not, was phenomenal. And I was really, really proud of the lads. And I think once we get players back from injury, I'm going to be really, really impressed with us. So, having said that, Lewis, I just love to talk, don't I? Having said that, we thought we'd do a video today on a quote that Jose Mourinho made. Now, first and foremost, I rate Mourinho as a pundit. I think he's fantastic entertainment TV-wise.
Miles ahead of any of the others.
Miles ahead of any of the others. I think he's such an intelligent, smart, dedicated man. I think over the years he's been given too much stick. I don't think the work that he's put in and the trophies he's won have been acknowledged. Yes, he doesn't help himself sometimes, but I think he's a great guy. You know, I love Mourinho and I will never not love him. He gave us Premier League titles. End of.
You gotta love his personality as well.
Yeah, you gotta love his personality. He brings a bit of energy. You know, when you watch him on TV, you want to listen to what he's saying, don't you?
Exactly. Even when he was at United, he was throwing up the 3 figures at the Chelsea fans. I still couldn't hate
Yeah,
the guy.
exactly. So Mourinho made a quote after the game that we want to go into detail about. We think it has some truth to it, but we're not completely sure. So Mourinho said, "When you start accepting defeats just because your team played well and just because your players gave their best, a performance for people to be proud of, I think when big clubs get used to it, that's when big clubs stop being big clubs." Okay, interesting quote. And a little dig at Chelsea, I'm not so sure.
Rivals will say we're not a big club anyway. So.
Yeah, you know what I'll say? I say when I interviewed John Terry a few years ago, I'm pretty sure he told me that he had, and I also watched it on interviews he's done, he has such high standards that he expects, you know, he'd even be a bit, you know, not rude, but like shout at the ball boys or if they didn't get it. You know, he's a perfectionist. He is somebody who demands 100,000%, you know? He wants, if you say, give me 10 out of 10, he wants 15 out of 10, you know?
Kind of the mentality we've been lacking recently.
Exactly. He is a bit harsh in this instance, and I'm going to tell you why. I think when judging Chelsea's performance yesterday, normally, yes, and I think that's why City had a few shock results last season, because the minute you start to think, oh, I'm doing well, whatever, you slack off, and the minute clubs start to accept defeats when they've played well, absolutely, you drift off. But I think for the boys at the moment, we are in that period that Liverpool were in a few years ago. Yeah, and exactly. It's not really relevant to where we are as a team, where we are as a club, and what we're trying to rebuild. And after Eden Hazard, that's a huge rebuild, you know. So you can't expect what Mourinho's saying to. I don't know. I don't read into it.
I think it's the case. Like, I take the quote as a bit of a long-term warning. That's what I'm looking at.
Okay.
Like right now for this season, we can't really say anything about accepting losses in the long term, because that's what we're trying to do, because we're not at the level that we're gonna step up and beat Liverpool. I mean, credit, we had a great game in the Super Cup and we did hold our own against Liverpool yesterday, but for the most part, Liverpool were the better side. They had more of the experience. They made the better decisions going forward, and I think quality showed yesterday.
Well, they take their chances, don't they? They have one step piece, they score a goal.
But that's also why sometimes you do have to accept defeat. But I think what Jose says is actually a pretty good point in the future, because this season, hell, maybe even halfway through this season, it's okay for now. Next season or the season after that, you've got to start having that mentality of, okay, we can't lose. If we lose, why have we lost? What's the issue? And we need to work on it. Because right now, even though we're developing, even though it's a completely different team to last season, it was the same issues from last season that cost us. Finishing was poor, same as last season.
Not taking our chances.
Set pieces was poor. We conceded both the goals off the set pieces. Same mistakes.
The only player that for me has taken some initiative is Tomori when he scored that goal, that amazing goal, and what a debut.
Well.
Yeah, it's insane, you know, and I think And Kante, yeah, you know. But those two players for me are the only ones. I want those days when, you know, when Matic scored that amazing goal at Everton, when David Luiz scored that amazing goal at Fulham. That comes from you being a player. And to be a good team, you also have to contribute that. It's not all about creating good goals from walking it into the box. You also have to show initiative, because you're not always going to be able to do that. You're going to have times when players defend so well that you need that spark.
Yeah, but because this is a complete, well, I won't say it's a new side, but because it's a much younger side, and there's still a lot of players who are making their first starts for Chelsea, their first couple of games. Right now, I think there's a lack of leadership around the entire squad, and I think that's only something that's going to develop in the next couple of months. Right? Whenever a new, I don't remember the actual saying behind it, but you know, whenever a new team develops and there's always struggle for leadership, that grows within a couple of months. Leaders start to develop out of the pack, and I think in a couple of months you'll start to see who the real leaders are in this squad, but we're not going to know it right now. It's going to have to come within the next couple of months. It's just going to be a patience game with us.
Totally. I agree. Out of 10, how much merit do you think to what Mourinho said is true?
I'll give him a 5, because I'm not going to say what Jose's saying is wrong. I'm also not going to say it fully applies to us right now, because right now it doesn't. We're in such a delicate spot now. Do
you know what if this was Arsenal we were talking about?
Yeah.
I would say he's got a point there.
But Arsenal ain't in a transfer ban.
They aren't in a transfer ban. They aren't in any sort of remodeling.
Yeah.
They've had their new manager. They've made their new signings. They've got amazing players like Aubameyang, Lacazette. You know, they have all these fantastic players. Of course, and that is when, you know, you get the guys in Arsenal fans who say we're not a big club anymore, but when your team play well, you think, oh, well, that could have been a lot worse, and that's what I don't want Chelsea ever to be, you know?
No.
But we just have a situation at the moment.
I'd only really accept that sort of mentality for this season. Hell, again, maybe even half the season, depending on how well we turn up in the second half. But for now, I mean, realistically, we've got to look at losses like Sunday. We just got to be like, we can't really.
It's very early in the season. The boys have hardly had many games to play together. You know, when you consider how long the season is, we've got till the end of May. We're only in September. I think the performance yesterday was good, and I think the reaction from most of the fans was good. Of course, we're disappointed, you know, but there were so many positives to take from yesterday's game that I don't want Mourinho's quote to differ away from.
Exactly.
I don't want people to misinterpret it. I don't want them to read it the wrong way. I think Mourinho's giving it as like a warning sign, isn't he? Like, it was good, but don't get used to that sort of thing because you set yourself up for a downfall.
Yeah, that's exactly why I think Jose's saying. And if that is the way you put it out, perfect, and I've got nothing to disagree with it.
Yeah.
But for us, we don't want to get too carried away. We don't want to start getting all worried or panicking, because we still got to understand that we're still missing a couple of first-team players.
Totally.
Right now, Rudiger's came back and is now out injured. We're still waiting on Reece James, Hudson-Odoi, Loftus-Cheek. All four of those players, when they come back, are going to greatly improve the squad. So, patience. That's all we ask for right now.
Furthermore, if you could sign a couple of players, if we do get it lifted in January, who would you sign?
Here's the thing. I think right now the one position I think that needs improving is right back, because it all depends on Reece James. I think after an injury like that, he's still going to take time to fully reintegrate back into the first team squad. That's kind of why I love the hype for Reece James. I love the hype for him.
Yeah.
But I don't want to throw it too out there and then put hella pressure on him when he comes back, because he's still coming back from a big injury and is now having to make a name for himself at Chelsea and bench our captain. So there's a lot that's going to be asked for him. I want to see him break into the squad. I have full belief that he can do it. I don't want to throw all the pressure out on him though, because if he goes in and he flops, he's got the whole football world roasting his ass, and I don't want that for his age.
Word, babe, word. Well, comment below, let us know what you think of Mourinho's comments. Interesting one here, because some fans are very divided in their opinions of Mourinho.
Yeah.
For me, I don't really understand it, because he's a man that gave us Premier League trophies, back-to-back wins. You know, I have the utmost high respect for him. I hold him in such high regards. Yeah, he can, you know, say some funny things sometimes, but that is his personality.
That's
and
Jose
the football world will be a lot more of a boring place without him. So comment below, let us know what you think of this, and yeah, we will see you all for the game on Wednesday. Yeah,
I mean,
fun that'll be. Hello everyone, I am Sophie Rose.
And I'm Lewis Gebre-Selassie, and we are your new presenters for Blues TV for the upcoming season.
So make sure you click the subscribe button and keep